Hello there. Sith Holocron's the name. Playing Legends of Runeterra is my game, and building decks is what I enjoy doing the most. And from the Dongers of Runeterra, we have a Donger deck discussion, and it's a brand new deck. Ish. So, I really like Fizz. God help me, I actually like him. I like his emote, I like everything about him. And I decided to try and do something a little weird and try and make Fizz into an aggro deck. Now, I love aggro decks, but Fizz needs a bajillion spells. Like, so many. Because you got to keep the boy alive, essentially. You have to keep the boy alive or you're just done. Okay, so let's have a wee look at my new deck that I have discussed only a little bit, I suppose. This is Fizz's Twisted Aggro Party. And it's a little bit bonkers. With an awful lot of units. And not that many spells. Which kind of goes against most people's brain when you build Fizz. So normally you'd expect like 25, 26 spells, a few units. Oh dear, no. No. We have Twisted Fate and Fizz. And then we have 28 units. And 12 spells. And that's it. That's the deck. That's it done. So let's go through the deck and you can see where we're at. So we are in Bilgewater and we are in Freljord. And we start off, if you're in Freljord, you've got to keep your smaller units alive. And guess what's missing from up here? There's no freeze. There's no brittle steel. Absolutely none of it. Because we're aggro. So we want to smash face. So smashing face involves keeping people alive, so adding 2 to your health is pretty good. Let's have 3 of those, please. And then we have Fizz, and Fizz is just wonderful. So if you don't play him that often, not surprisingly, he's not that great as a 2-1. But if you cast a spell, stop all enemy spells and skills targeting me and give me elusive and yada yada, then he's really good. He's really good. So we have 12 spells, 3 of which are Elixir of Iron. How do we keep Fizz alive? Keep watching to find out. We've put in Jagged Butcher. Now, why on earth have we put in Jagged Butcher? Well, it's because he's a solid card. He's a really solid card. There are thoughts that this boy can be the best 1-drop in the game. Except he's got to deal with this guy as well. So why don't we put the 2 best 1-drops in the game in the same deck? That kind of makes sense to me. So these are all 3s. We're getting +1/+1 on the first 2 allies. And then we're getting a +1/+1 on the Jagged Butcher. So he becomes a 3/3. And that's a solid start. So if you get 1 each of these, if you've plundered, you know, that's pretty decent. That's pretty good. And then the best 2-drop in the game, Black Market Merchant. When you draw an enemy card, reduce its cost by 1, plunder, you nab 1. That's really, really, really good. And then we go to Coral Creatures. And that's a card that doesn't get played an awful lot. It's sometimes played in Bilgewater decks. But when you're summoned, you create in hand a 1-cost spell from your regions. So I'm getting 1-cost spells from Bilgewater and Freljord. And if I go up in here, so remember, it's a 1-cost spell. Let's go in here, let's click spells. And we can get all of these. You've been warned, Parlay, Jettison, Warning Shot, Brittle Steel, Elixir of Iron, which we already have. And Jailbreak, which is a 1-cost follower. There's how we're getting our Brittle Steel. We're getting Warning Shots to trigger off Butcher, yada, 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 yada. That is fantastic. And just generates cards that aren't in your deck. You play that twice, you've now got a 42 card deck. That's unfair, right? That's unfair. That's really unfair. We're in Bilgewater. It's a 3. Oh, hold on. No, it's not. It's only a 2 because we're going for more units. We're an aggro deck. Aggro means units, not spells. But this is fantastic for plundering for your Black Market Merchant or your Jagged Butcher or other things. And because we're not running that amount of spells, why the hell then are we taking 3 Starlit Seers? Why not 3 Make It Rains and 2 Seers? Well, that's a really interesting and very simple answer to that question. Is that if we can do what Omen Hawk does 6 times in a game, that ally that you bring out, maybe say 3 of them, are going to be buffed 2-2 or 3-3 or whatever it happens to be until you get your next unit, but they're going to be buffed, which means their power and health are increased. That is fantastic. I ran this with just none of them and then ran it with 1 of them, and then I wanted more, so we ended up with 3, and that's how we are. There are quite a few 2s and 1s in this, which is not standard deck building, but it doesn't mean to say that it's wrong. So we've got 2 kindly Tavern Keepers, who will heal your allies or your Nexus 3 for 3 and give you a 3-3. That's solid. Let's have more units, please. So Petty Officer, here we go. Summon a Powder Keg or a random 1-cost follower. We're aggro, we're going to go with a 1-cost follower. That's a pretty good thing. And then we have 1. Pick a card. Now, why 1? Well, truth of the matter is, I had 39 cards and wanted something. And then realised that Twisted Fate needs to see some cards. So, is that a good choice? Don't know. This is my flex spot. There are other things we could put in here, and we have got quite a lot of 3s. But our biggest card is only a 5 mana cost. So we're getting out lots of cheap things, and we're going to try and ram you down the throat a lot. So pick a card, shuffle a card in the hand from your deck to draw 3, and then give them fleeting, and it's just really good for Twisted Fate, but could easily be changed to something else. Could even make it rain into a 3. Who knows? And then we go to Sleight of Hand, and I think this card is fantastic. Why is this card not being used more? After you plunder, draw a random non-champion from the enemy hand. You're getting a card ripped out from your hand. That is ridiculous. Like, that's utterly ridiculous. So, yes please, we're having 2 of those. We're also having 2 Fury of the North to make them 4-4. And 2 Salvage to help again with Twisted Fate, who can then do Twisted Fate things. And the main way that we are plundering nearly every single time are 2 Slippery Wave Riders, which is just fantastic. It's elusive, it's refilling a spell mana, it's a solid unit, it's doing 4. If you're not playing against elusives, they have to kill it. Even if they are, we're drawing any of these cards from the Coral Creatures. There are ways to be able to do anything. The Parlay does Nexus damage. That does Nexus damage. There's a lot. The Jettison can come in and toss 4 more. If Twisted Fate is out, that is fantastic. And the Brittle Steel does a lot, and that's another unit. So there's none of these I don't want. These 1 and 0 cost cards are fantastic. And Coral Creatures is a huge part of this deck. It's also really damn fun to play. Because you know that if you get to like round 8 or 9, you're going to be able to refill your board really damn easily. Petty Officer really helps with that. And every time that you drop a spell, your units are getting buffed because of the Starlit Seer. There's an awful lot of stuff here that is nasty pasty to opposing units. Now, it does not perform well against a massive Freljord deck like Ash says, but most decks don't perform well against Ash says. But across the field, I'd say this is a solid tier 2 deck that's very fun to play and is just fun. There's no other way to put it. It's just, I love Fizz. Fizz is hilarious to play with. Twisted Fate is also hilarious to play with. And if you're playing against a deck that has very low health, you know, his cards, when you drop them, will wipe the board and you're just going straight in. To be honest, I haven't had as much fun playing Legends of Runeterra as I have done with this deck. The deck code, which I will just take right now. Let's save that. And we will clip that to the board. And that is my Fizz Twisted Fate deck. It'll be in the pinned comments, and a free invite to join the Dongers of Runeterra Discord are in the little bits underneath. So my name is Sith Holocron. We're from the Dongers of Runeterra. This was a Donger deck discussion. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up. If you want to see these into your inbox, just subscribe. It's easy peasy. It's just a button press, and we always finish the same way. Dongers out.